Sit in freezing water for 3 minutes, and supposedly you'll burn fat, crush anxiety, bulletproof your immune system, spike your testosterone, and live to 120. According to the internet, the cure for being human is a garbage can full of ice. The truth is quieter. Cold exposure does do a few real things, but it also sends people to the hospital every year, and the most dangerous moment is the very first one. So let's separate what's real, what's a maybe, and what's just cold, wet marketing. What's real? A short plunge can sharpen your focus, lift your mood, and ease sore muscles after a hard workout. That rush of noradrenaline is genuine. It's the buzz you feel afterward. What's hype? The immune superpower. The biggest study found people took fewer sick days off work, but got sick just as often. And testosterone? There's no solid evidence cold raises it. Your body doesn't get more masculine on ice. Now the danger. Hit cold water suddenly and you gasp, a huge involuntary breath. If your face is under, you inhale water. That first minute, not the cold itself, is what actually hurts people. So here's the honest takeaway. Cold is a real tool, not a miracle. Keep it short, keep it controlled, and never jump in like the guy in the video. More suffering doesn't buy better results. Not all cold is the same, and lumping it together is where people get hurt. A cold shower? That's the gentle end. You're upright, you can step out the second you want, and honestly, the risk is basically nothing. A cold plunge or ice bath is a step up. You're sitting in a container of measured cold water, still, temperature known, exit right there. Controlled. Winter swimming is a different animal. Now you're in open water and you've added currents, wind, waves, and the small problem of having to swim back. And ice swimming? That's the far edge. The official definition is water at 5 degrees Celsius, 41 Fahrenheit, or colder, in nothing but a swimsuit cap and goggles. Here's the point. A 30-second cold shower and a swim through near freezing water are not the same hobby with the difficulty turned up. One is a habit anyone can build. The other is a survival sport that trains for years and still gets people killed. So before you copy some video online, ask which one you're actually doing. Cold water doesn't care how motivated you are. It cares whether you can get out. Start at the shallow end. Earn the deep one. Let's be fair to cold water. Some of the hype is actually true. The alertness and mood boost? Real? Cold floods your system with noradrenaline. One study measured a jump of over 500%. That's the buzz, the wide awake, almost euphoric feeling afterward. It genuinely lifts your mood. Sore muscles after a hard workout? Cold water immersion really does take the edge off and helps you bounce back faster. If you're competing again tomorrow, that's real value. And staying calm while your body screams at you to get out? That's a trainable skill. Cold is a convenient gym for your nervous system. But here's what nobody tells you. You don't need to suffer more to get any of this. The alertness bump plateaus fast. In the studies, 30 seconds worked as well as 90. Chasing colder, longer, harder isn't a high score. It's just risk. Because that first shock is where people get hurt. Hit cold water suddenly and you gasp. A huge, involuntary breath, face underwater, and you inhale it. Panic, swim hard, and you pile stress onto a racing heart, and getting used to the cold doesn't make you bulletproof. Experienced swimmers still get hypothermia, still lose coordination, still drown. So take the benefits. Respect the first minute, start mild, and let the cold be a tool, not a dare. Cold exposure actually has some real uses. The problem is where people take it. After a hard workout, an ice bath can dial down soreness and help you feel ready to go again sooner. If you're competing tomorrow, that's genuinely useful. Cold also flips on your fight or flight system. That's the rush, the alertness, the energy, the weirdly good mood you get after climbing out. Some people feel calmer and more confident all day. That part's real. And there's early research into sleep, blood sugar, brown fat, inflammation, interesting stuff. but a lot of it comes from small studies or from lifelong winter swimmers who were already fit and active. So interesting isn't the same as proven for you. Now the myth that won't die, weight loss. Yes, shivering burns a few extra calories. No, 3 minutes in cold water does not cancel out your diet. Your body spending energy to stay warm is not a weight loss program. It's just being cold. So here's the honest version. Cold is a tool. It can sharpen you up and speed up recovery. What it can't do is undo bad habits. It's not metabolic debt forgiveness, and no amount of suffering changes that. Use it for what it's good at. Stop expecting it to save you. Cold plunges get sold as a health miracle. Let's check the 3 biggest claims against the actual evidence. Immunity first. Everyone cites one Dutch study of over 3,000 people. The cold shower group took 29% fewer sick days. Sounds massive, until you read the next line. They didn't actually get sick any less often. They caught just as many colds. They just showed up to work anyway. That's grit, or milder symptoms, not a fortress immune system. Fewer sick days off is not the same as fewer illnesses. Next, brain power. Cold makes you feel sharp, but feeling sharp isn't being sharp. Push it too long and cold actually slows your attention, your reaction time, your coordination. That's a documented hazard, not a nootropic. And longevity, the big one. Living to 120 on ice? There's no solid human evidence cold plunges extend your life at all. Cold switches on some interesting biological pathways, sure, but interesting pathway and extra years alive are galaxies apart. Here's the thread tying it together. A stress response is not automatically a health benefit. Your body reacting to cold doesn't mean it's thanking you. Use it for what it's good at. Stop expecting it to save you. Feel free to enjoy the cold. Just stop expecting it to save your life. If you lift weights and then jump in an ice bath, you might be quietly canceling your own progress. Here's the part nobody mentions. Strength training works by sending a signal to your muscles. Grow and repair. That signal is the whole point of the workout, and cold water, right after lifting, appears to mute it. In one study, men did the exact same leg training for 12 weeks. The group that recovered normally built noticeably more muscle. The group that cold plunged after every session? Barely any measurable growth. A recent review of the research points the same way. Routine post-lifting cold shrinks your gains even when strength holds up okay. Now, don't panic. One ice bath won't erase your workout, and this doesn't apply to cardio or endurance at all. The problem is making cold the automatic last step of every single lifting session. So it comes down to your goal. Competing again tomorrow? Take the ice. Fast recovery wins. Trying to actually build muscle? Keep the cold away from the weights. Do it on rest days or hours later. Bottom line, don't spend an hour telling your body to build, then immediately tell it to stand down. Pick a lane. Somewhere out there, a man is sitting in a sauna with an ice pack on his testicles, convinced he's boosting his testosterone. Let's talk about that. First, the testosterone claim. There's no solid evidence that icing your testicles raises it. Sperm production and testosterone run on totally separate circuits. Cooling one does nothing measurable for the other. If anything, intense cold stress nudges testosterone down for a bit. Your scrotum does not become more manly when served over ice. Second, let me kill a scary myth directly. Icing does not cause epididymitis or prostatitis. Those are mostly infections, bacterial or urinary, not cold injuries. Doctors actually use ice packs to treat that swelling. The real risk is way more basic. Scrotal skin is thin and easily damaged, so you're mostly signing up for pain, numbness, or a cold burn. Third, fertility. Because there's a sliver of truth people cling to, small, older studies on gentle, consistent cooling showed modest gains in men who already had heat-related sperm problems. Emphasis on gentle, consistent, and specific. That is not a sauna stunt. and a better lab number isn't a baby. So, if fertility's the real concern, cut back on repeated intense heat and get a semen analysis from a urologist. Don't improvise cryotherapy in your shorts. Cold water is not a democracy. For some people, that plunge everyone's raving about is a genuinely bad idea. So let's be clear about who. If you've got heart disease, a past heart attack, an irregular rhythm, uncontrolled high blood pressure, fainting spells, or serious circulation problems, talk to a doctor first or skip it entirely. Cold slams your blood pressure and heart rate up in seconds, and that's exactly the stress those hearts don't need. Be careful too if you have epilepsy, cold-triggered asthma, Raynaud's, cold urticaria, diabetes that's dulled your sensation, or any condition that messes with how you sense temperature. Older adults, listen up. You often carry more hidden heart risk and regulate temperature less reliably. Age is just a number is a great slogan. Cold water has never read it. Kids shouldn't be doing this as an unsupervised experiment. They lose heat fast and spot danger slow. And if you're pregnant, clear it with a clinician first. Then the rule that applies to everyone: get out immediately for chest pain, real breathlessness, a pounding or skipping heart, dizziness, confusion, clumsiness, bluish skin, or shivering you can't stop. If it's severe, call emergency services. Cold can be worth it, but the smartest move in that water is knowing when to get out. Want the upside without the ambulance? A few simple rules cover almost all of it. Rule 1. Start with less cold, not more courage. Ending a normal shower with a short cold blast is a perfectly good way in. The goal is calm, controlled breathing, not proving that suffering builds character. For a plunge, pick a temperature and a time that let you stay clear-headed and climb out on your own. Get in gradually. Keep your head up until your breathing settles down. Rule 2, and this one's non-negotiable: never mix cold water with hyperventilation or breath-holding games. That combination has killed people. And never get in drunk, high, or sedated. Open water raises the stakes. Never swim alone. Stay near an easy exit. Check the temperature, the weather, the currents. Use proper thermal and flotation gear. Have dry clothes ready because your core keeps cooling for a few minutes even after you're out. And the big one: stop taking your cues from the loudest video online. That person is performing for a camera. The camera has never once pulled anyone out of the water. Cold rewards respect and punishes ego. Start small, stay in control, and let it be a habit, not a dare. So where does all this leave us? Cold exposure is a real tool with a short, honest resume. It can wake you up, lift your mood for a while, ease sore muscles, and train you to stay calm when your body wants to panic. Those are genuinely nice things. But here's what it hasn't earned. It doesn't reliably stop you getting sick. It doesn't extend your life. It doesn't melt away a bad diet, and it doesn't raise your testosterone. Extreme cold doesn't hand out premium rewards just because it hurts more. Premium suffering is not premium benefit, so keep two ideas. More is not better, and regular beats extreme. A short, controlled, consistent dose does almost everything the research actually supports. Going colder, longer, riskier mostly just buys you danger. The rules that matter: keep it away from your lifting if you want muscle. Never put bare ice on sensitive skin, and match the cold to your actual health, not someone else's highlight reel. Because cold can sharpen how you handle stress, but it's a lousy replacement for sleep, food, movement, and plain common sense. That's the honest version. This is education, not medical advice. If you've got a health condition, ask a real clinician before you take the plunge.